Friends, we are live. It is CFLW, the show for this Monday, December the 1st. We have hit the last month of the year. Hope you are doing well. I hope you had an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving week filled with too much food and too much time with family and friends. But I hope each and every one of you had a fantastic time. Hopefully you got all your fill to eat. Hopefully you took part of some of those Black Friday deals and got some Christmas presents as well. As always, CFLW, the show, sponsored by the leading law firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering free consultation and policy reviews. They'll walk you through the insurance claim process. You want to check them out. They're the sponsor of the channel. Go to leanomnilaw.com for more information. How's everyone doing today? It's been a week. I hope everyone is doing well. Good afternoon to Nancy. How are you doing today? Good afternoon, Diane from freezing. Let me get my chat back up here. Freezing weather in, is it Cohutta, Georgia? Missing our Kissimmee sunshine. I can imagine. It's a little bit chilly up there, but it is kind of a precursor of what is likely to come for us here as we go over the next couple of days. A little bit cooler weather on the way. Nancy's asking about the opportunity for some rain. Promise you we're going to be getting into that because as you can see already here from the Melbourne radar, we have a couple of light showers that are moving through the area even at the hour right now. Hey, Chessie, good afternoon to you. Spring Hill in the house, 76 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, a 60-degree dew point. Farrah, how are you? Good afternoon to you as well. Hey, Blue Goose, good to see you. St. Augustine, 70 degrees with an 87% humidity. Yeah, it is cloudy out there, no doubt about it. Hey, Jaden, I'll be flying to Orlando on Thursday. How will the weather be? Awesome, Jaden. Jaden, a friend of the channel from the Media Mundo side, lives in Aruba. So going the opposite direction. Most of the time, we like to go down to the Caribbean this time of the year. Jaden's heading up to Orlando. Jaden, I promise you we'll get into that as well. So great to hear from everyone. Obviously, you can tell from what's happening outside right now that we do have some changes on the way for the week. So let's get into that. First of all, are you kidding me? Did it really die out again? The winter garden camera has literally been going in and out like the entire last couple of hours. I've been getting it back on, it's been back off. It's gonna show you about the same shot. Live look outside to Winter Park, the lean log cam here in Orange County. And again, what you have is, you have kind of a mid-deck of these broken clouds beginning to come in. These are prefrontal clouds that are beginning to roll into the area, but it is a sign that we're getting a little bit more moisture in the atmosphere and the opportunity to see some showers and maybe even a couple of rumbles of thunder, and I'll highlight that coming up as well. But for now, it's mainly just, you know, more of a blanket of clouds rather than clouds that are producing showers in most of Central Florida. Live look outside to Conway. They're even a little bit thinner as you get a little bit farther off towards the south. Now, of course, we're looking off towards the east from this camera. We're going to see the cloud coverage roll in from north to south, so from left to right on your camera. So it's a little bit thinner the farther southeast that you look from our Conway cam, and a little bit thicker cloud coverage beginning to work its way in. Bottom line is, generally speaking, the farther north that you live in Central Florida, a little bit more cloud coverage you're seeing at the hour. We have a bit of a breeze outside from time to time, and you know, temperatures are still quite mild for us here. You see those live temperatures rolling across the bottom of your screen, so we're not going to get as warm in a lot of areas here, but you know, the fact is we're still got a bit of a south wind, and with the overcast skies, you guys have been showing the humidity values out there. The opportunity for it to still be a bit muggy out there from time to time this afternoon will be with us. From the Lake Buena Vista camera area, the attractions area looking back off towards the south, of course, the Magic Kingdom about 1 mile from this camera, just on the other side of that stand of trees. And again, we're looking to the south here, so you can see some holes punched in some of those mid-level and high-level clouds when we look back off towards our south. But again, these clouds will continue to kind of invade the area for us here. All right, so let's get back over to the weather computer and kind of break down, first of all, of course, we'll do this chronologically, what's happening for today and what's on the way. So from the Melbourne radar, you can see that there are a couple of areas of light showers underneath some of the extra cloud coverage we have in our northern areas. This is nothing more than spots of light rain and drizzle outside, portions of Citrus County towards Inverness, then up State Road 200 towards Ocala. A little bit more in the way of at least a moderate shower in the northern sides of Putnam County here, back towards the western sides, the northern sides of Lake County, back towards the western sides of Flagler County, southern sides of Putnam County, so up 17 and 19 there towards the Pearson area, Crescent City, and a couple of light showers are likely to dot the landscape across portions of the I-95, US 1 and A1A corridor. Again, some of this is just going to be some mid-level moisture trapped in the atmosphere that the radar is pointing high enough in the atmosphere that it's picking up some of that moisture. Is not actually falling to the ground, but from time to time we're likely to at least have a couple of light showers being produced out of this. Now let's take a look at what's going on temperature wise and the visible satellite imagery here. So this is what's going on at the hour. You can clearly see there is a shroud of clouds from Central Florida back towards the Panhandle and across all of the Southeast. These are your live temperatures right now, and you can clearly see that the bottom really begins to fall off at the temperatures. You get into South Central Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, and to the north. And underneath some of this excessive cloud coverage here, we're having some certainly cooler weather. When I bring on the composite rainfall as well, you can clearly see that there's a little bit more in the rain department beginning to develop, with an area of low pressure trying to form in the northwest side of the Gulf. And that is going to be the catalyst to drive a cold front into our area as we get into tomorrow. All right, so you can see there's your boundary here. Temperatures south of that boundary in the 70s in the Gulf. You have 45 right now in Houston. So they're on the north side of that developing low. Colder weather with the cloud coverage across the northern side of the Gulf states, and then working its way off towards the east. Now, as this low tries to develop, and you can almost kind of see it here, it's gonna be moving north and east, okay? So the low itself is not likely to actually come across the peninsula. It may clip the Big Bend or the eastern side of the Panhandle, but I'm expecting this low to travel north and east. However, what it is going to do is drag a cold front across the area, and that's what's going to bring us the best chance for some showers and even a couple of rumbles of thunder. Look, this time of the year, the atmosphere isn't as unstable as it normally is during the, spring, summer, even the early fall months. But you can clearly see, and this is a very interesting feature, by the way, you got another mid-level low here. So you actually have a couple of lightning strikes developing in this area. And oh, by the way, they're also seeing some freezing rain and sleet and snow in portions of Arkansas. It's a potent system. That's the bottom line. And this is going to impact our weather with the best chance for showers and storms and weeks, and a little bit cooler weather as well. And I'm going to highlight that coming up. But right now, this boundary is just kind of quasi-stationary and stalled out over the area, and it's produced from time to time some south winds outside with the XX cloud coverage. So, you get yourself, first of all, some gusty winds. Wind gusts right now, 15 to 20 miles an hour. In the Orlando area, it's a northeast wind. You get back down towards Tampa, it's east, and Sarasota, it's also east as well. So the winds are kind of coming onshore right now, which is why we've had a little bit more rain across I-95. It hasn't been much. You get back down towards Boca Raton, West Palm Beach, we've had a little bit more for us here. When I bring up the Tallahassee radar, and then I drop off the composite, so let's bring up the Tallahassee radar if it wants to cooperate. See here, there we go. Again, you can see that even north of the boundary, the shower activity is pretty darn light outside. Nothing is very potent at the hour. It's everything that's going to be coming with this low and driving in a little bit better chance for rain and some storms. Today, the bark is worse than the bite. Okay, I don't expect there to be a ton of shower activity in Central Florida. There'll be overcast skies. It'll be a little bit humid. It'll be a little bit breezy outside, but it won't be until we actually drag the cold front across the area tomorrow that we're actually going to have a decent chance for some showers and a rumble of thunder. Dew points right now, again, for early December, it's relatively moist outside. Dew points in the 50s and 60s and back down towards Port St. Lucie and West Palm. Dew points in the 70s. That's pretty humid air, but upper 50s, low to mid 60s outside is relatively moisture laden air. You get farther north, obviously that air dries out a little bit as well. All right, so how is this going to play out with appreciably what we're expecting to see? Well, the first thing I want to show you guys is the Storm Prediction Center chance for any thunderstorm activity. Today, again, with the onshore flow, there is likely to be some continued shower activity across I-95 from Jacksonville all the way down towards Miami. Central, western sides of the state, relatively dry. Can't rule out a shower here or there, but we're mainly dry, if nothing else, just some light rain. You get up towards the central and the western panhandle from Pensacola, Panama City, Port St. Joe, and we do have this marginal risk for a few strong to severe storms. So along the actual Gulf Coast, as these storms develop and move inland, we're likely to see some stronger storms. Now, the reason why this area is highlighted in green is because that's where the low is going to track from the Gulf. Again, the low is going to track north and east, staying north of us, and near that low, with the additional lift in the atmosphere that it's likely to produce, that's where we're going to see the opportunity for some stronger storms today. When we look at the risk for any storms tomorrow, it's about the same area, just a little bit more inland. As the low tracks in this direction, it's going to produce enough instability where very localized we could get some marginal strong or isolated severe storms. Wind gusts would be the primary threat. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see some gusty winds tomorrow. You notice that we're in the general risk, if you will, for some thunderstorms. I do expect there to be some rumbles of thunder tomorrow. If nothing else, the rain is going to be a little bit heavier. And unlike today, where the showers are going to be pretty light in nature and not really help out the water table any, the showers and storms tomorrow at least have a better chance. They are going to be scattered in nature still, right? They're not going to be this huge line that's going to be coming through. But the best opportunity that we've had in weeks will be coming to Central Florida tomorrow as this cold front arrives, and then we'll have the opportunity for some cool weather to come in behind that. Let me jump back into the chat real quick. Hey, how we doing, Neat? Good to see you. It has been a while. Blue Goose, here's the rumors of rain, which certainly hold true. Hey, Joseph, how you doing? Why do these fronts always stall in the same region? Titusville, Cape areas always see the front stopping there all the time. It's because a lot of the energy associated with these fronts continues to get pulled north this time of the year. Now, the fronts are actually getting stronger. They're getting more potent, and they have more north winds to push them closer to our area. But as we get into, let me just take off these radar sites real quick here. As we get into this time of the year, the fronts have enough north winds to get into Florida, but then they kind of stall out after that because, again, they're beginning to encounter warmer air. They're beginning to fall apart. They're shallower in nature. They just don't hold together very well. Eventually, and sometimes it happens in November, we've had fronts that have come all the way through this year, as a matter of fact. But the deeper into winter that we end up getting, especially into January and February, there's enough colder air up north, there's enough strong north winds at the low and the mid levels of the atmosphere that the fronts typically can make it all the way through the area. So it is this time of the year where these boundaries like to stall out across the peninsula somewhere, and sometimes they become quasi-stationary because we still have south winds a lot here in the southern Gulf and in the western Atlantic basin to kind of hold them up and stagnate them. But it's just really all about how shallow they are or how deep they are and the north winds to push them farther across the state. But it's a great question, Joseph. And we here in Florida, because of the water on either side, typically see these fronts begin to kind of weaken and stall out across our area, especially early in fall, really even into late fall here. Once we get into kind of late December, January, February, the opportunity for these fronts to push all the way off to the south become a bit better chance. And then as we get into late winter and early spring, guess what? The fronts begin to weaken again, and these fronts tend to stall out a little bit closer to our area and stick around for days. And those are the kinds of fronts that can produce several days of rain in a row, especially as we get into February, March, and April. Earlier this November, we had a cold front that was so powerful that it actually dropped all the way into the Northwest Caribbean. So it's not like every front stalls out this time of the year over Central Florida, but we do get it more than our fair share. All right, great to hear everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for tuning in. While you're here, thanks for hitting that like button. Thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. So again, you can clearly see the little curly Q, but all the moisture right now is kind of up towards the north. So let's break down how this is going to impact the area. First thing is just a real quick look at the advisories. The flood warnings are still for the St. John's. What else is new? St. John's takes literally months to try and, recede some of the water. We're going to have rip current statement risks out, but it's December. I hope you're not trying to get out into the Atlantic waters. There is an opportunity as winds freshen up with this front that we actually get some small craft advisories, or at least some statements for marine interests along the coast. So keep that in mind for any boaters. Seas are likely to freshen up and be 5 to 6 feet near shore, as winds will also begin to pick up as well. But not a lot in the way of appreciable, significantly impactful weather. Again, that's the risk for severe storms for tomorrow. So what does it look like for us here? We're going to break down the models right now. I'm going to bring up our HER model, high resolution rapid refresh. We'll switch over to the model timeline and then loop this up. Grab my Lean Law tumbler. But you can see that is for early December, a pretty wet system that's going to be coming through. Now again, because the low is pulling north, a lot of the energy and instability and heaviest rain and storms are likely to stay north of the area. But it is going to drag a cold front through, and that should give us the opportunity for these showers and storms. So let's talk about timing. Let me see here. So I've got it at 7 o'clock. Let me actually back it up real quick. Thought I had it all the way to about 2. I want to show you guys this afternoon as well. Take just 1 second to fully loop up. Rumble in the jungle. Hey, Fiona, how are you? Hey, Kyle, good to see you as well. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving, filled, as I said, with too much turkey, too much family and friends, right? Hopefully we all got our fair share. And great to see everyone. I appreciate you guys tuning back into the channel. Yes, Farrah, thank you so much for reminding everyone to do all of that as well. Okay, so let's break down how I expect this rain and thunderstorm chance to move through the area. So we'll start with this afternoon. Again, generally speaking, the farther north that you live, you're going to have the opportunity for a little bit more light rain, and that is likely to be it. I don't expect there to be a lot of appreciable rainfall through the remainder of the afternoon hours, despite the fact that we'll actually stay mostly cloudy and, if not at times, be overcast. But there's just not a lot coming into the area this afternoon. The low itself is still gathering steam and is still pretty far off. So a lot of this activity is going to be north of the area, I-10 into the north. But as we go overnight, we'll start to see some of the rain move in. Now, for anyone who's heading out early tomorrow, I'd recommend the windbreaker or the light rain jacket and have the umbrella handy, because starting tomorrow morning, we're going to start to see some showers and a few isolated storms move in. This is not going to be a clean frontal passage, meaning we're not going to just see one line of storms work its way through. There's going to be enough moisture ahead of the parent low in the front that'll be dragging through, where we're going to get some prefrontal showers and a rumble of thunder here and there. So by tomorrow morning at daybreak, we're likely to have some of that activity. First chance to see a couple of thunderstorms will be across our west coast by about 8 and 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Crystal River, Spring Hill, Hernando, Clearwater, Hudson, St. Petersburg, Largo, Tampa, Bradenton, Sarasota, all with the opportunity to get some fast moving showers and a rumble of thunder for the drive to work. So keep that in mind. This first activity will then quickly push its way inland. And again, at this point in time, expecting there to be some gusty winds, 25, maybe 35 mile an hour wind gusts. And we can look at the HER model as well with the winds. This is going to keep us certainly below severe thunderstorm criteria. Again, I don't want to say it's a zero chance, because it's a very low chance, but it's not non-zero. Could there be a special weather statement or two for some winds of up to 40? It's a possibility. You guys know I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. But this time of the year, there's just, unless we get a really strong low that wants to drive right over central Florida, a lot of the times with these fronts, the instability is just marginal at best. And that's exactly what we're going to see for your Tuesday. But again, you can clearly see, let me get back out here to where I want to be, this first wave coming through in the morning. and it begins to break apart a little bit. There'll still be some shower activity for Flagler and Volusia and Brevard County, but it could wane a touch, but we're not done. We're likely to see additional showers and a spotty rumble of thunder through the remainder of the afternoon and early evening hours. Now, if I show you the broader perspective, this low is going to end up racing pretty quickly. So watch all this activity, and you can almost kind of see how the south winds here pull in a lot of that moisture towards the Big Bend and eastern side of the Panhandle, which is where they could get a marginal severe storm with a little bit of a twist, but it all quickly works its way through. And by Wednesday morning, the front, which is highlighted by this line right here, has now pushed even south of Brevard in Indian River County. So the last gasp of rain, and it'll be pretty spotty in nature, is going to be late tomorrow night and early overnight into Wednesday morning. And by daybreak Wednesday, we're back to dry weather, we're back to seeing north winds, and we're back to seeing some cooler conditions as well. So let me bring up the wind vectors here. I'm going to pop these on. Make these a little bit bigger for you guys so you can see them. And we're now going to take a look at the winds as far as the direction and their speeds as well. Well, Blue Goose, I mean, that's how these fronts come in, right? That being said, you know, today we have some east winds that could be pinning a little bit of rain in your area. But again, there's just not a lot of lift prefrontal with this one. So I don't expect there to be a lot of heavier rain. You got to get closer to that area of low pressure. All right, so this is a look at the wind direction from the HRRR model. Hopefully it'll fully loop up here in just a second. It shouldn't take too long. All right, I think we're good to go. I'll let it loop one more time. Okay, so again, today, right, winds are likely to be out of the east, will be breezy from time to time, but generally speaking, we should have an easterly wind. Now, where the low is developing, right here, counterclockwise motion, right? It's not the strongest low, but it is going to be out there, and you can see it. It does begin to pick up a little bit of steam tomorrow morning, developing first in the northwest Gulf, pulling just south of Louisiana, and then riding its way through. And again, fairly diffuse, nothing outrageous, but that's the front coming in with the north winds behind it, right? So our winds will do a 180 tomorrow. We have the east wind today. They'll turn south overnight, and then as the rain begins to move in, we should have a westerly component through most of your Tuesday, and then turning out of the northwest. Now, color-wise, if you see the purples to pinks, there's going to be winds of over 20 miles an hour. Most of the time, the winds will be under 20 miles an hour tomorrow, but there will be some breezy conditions from time to time, 15 to 25, maybe even 30 mile an hour gusts. This is going to be even outside of where the showers and storms go. And when we have the localized storms coming in, there'll be the opportunity for a little bit more breezy conditions. And again, maybe up to 40. You know, could the Weather Service offices, you know, initiate a special weather statement of some kind? It's a possibility, but I'm not expecting there to be much out there. And again, out of this, then the winds turn out of the north and we get back into some cooler air. So let's talk about your city by city forecasts, and then I want to break down something else I want to talk about real quickly as well. So here we go. For Orlando, look for a 50% chance for scattered showers and storms tomorrow. Some of that tomorrow morning, scattered in nature, some of it redeveloping in the afternoon. Now, because the north winds don't kick in until the evening hours at the earliest, but more than likely overnight into Wednesday morning, it's still going to be 81 degrees. So you do have surface temperatures that will support some thunderstorm activity, right? So it's not going to shock me if most of you guys watching right now hear some rumbles of thunder in your area. And hopefully you get a little bit of rain for the yard as well, right? We don't need much this time of the year, but it is the dry season. We'll take these fronts. It's the only mechanism that we get rain, right? Sea breeze activity is done on a daily basis. So you got to get these fronts to come in and to provide us some showers. 81 the daytime high. It's a cooler Wednesday overall. 58 is the morning low. North winds drying things out, back to mostly sunny skies and dry. 71 the daytime high. Coldest morning will be Thursday. So the coldest weather comes in through Wednesday, bottoming off with clear skies, lighter winds, because it's still going to be a little bit breezy on Wednesday, and back down to 52 in Orlando. But it's not outrageously cold. We don't even get below 70 in Orlando. Some outlying areas of Orange County, Apopka, and Ocoee, and Winter Garden, and Wedgefield, places like that, are likely to slip into the upper 40s Thursday morning. It might stay on Wednesday in the upper 60s. But it's jacket weather, but it's not outrageously cold. And by Thursday afternoon, we're actually back up to 76 for a daytime high. Very mild temperatures at or slightly above average, even on Thursday afternoon. St. Pete, again, rumbles of thunder coming in pretty early on Tuesday, some rain and storms. Everything's going to be scattered in nature for the most part here, right? It'll be mostly cloudy overall, but from time to time, partly cloudy, from time to time overcast. 79 the daytime high. So again, just enough instability, enough, warmth in the atmosphere to produce some localized storms. 59 the morning low Wednesday, 72 with a cooler, dry Wednesday afternoon, and then they get back down to the double nickels on Thursday morning at 55, but a beautiful afternoon there in St. Pete on Thursday, back up to 76. So again, windbreaker, light jacket, umbrellas tomorrow. You'll want the light jacket for Wednesday. You might want the medium jacket early on Thursday. It's a little bit colder in the villages, obviously farther north. Again, the further north and west that you go, like the Villages and Leesburg and Ocala and Silver Springs and Citrus County, you're likely to have a better chance for a few showers and storms overall Tuesday. So it's a 70% chance for my friends in the Villages. So a pretty wet day playing any golf or pickleball outside. They get up to 80. Again, no colder weather coming in tomorrow, but then it begins to move in throughout Wednesday with the north winds. So it's a mostly sunny, cooler afternoon as we dry out with the breezy conditions on Wednesday. 52 the morning low, 70 the daytime high. This is jacket weather certainly in our northwest areas. By the way, this should also clear out the fog too, right? Likely to not see fog redeveloping here behind this front, at least initially in the morning hours. But again, it's colder Thursday, 47, and then we're back up to 74 on Thursday. So it's a nice split day with temperatures climbing by more than 25 degrees from morning lows to afternoon highs. Now, an area that I do expect there to be more wind tomorrow is likely to be the East Coast. So St. Augustine and Flagler County, including Palm Coast and Ormond Beach and Daytona Beach, all the way back down towards the Cape and any Atlantic and Satellite Beach and Brevard County, including Melbourne and Palm Bay, are likely to see a little bit gustier conditions from time to time. The chance for rain is lower along the East Coast, 40% chance, and temperatures are still quite mild for your Tuesday, 79 after a morning low of just 64. Again, you're not going to feel the cooler air tomorrow. That comes behind the front on Wednesday. 51's the morning low, 66 the daytime high on Wednesday, and then we'll nudge it down a couple more degrees on Thursday morning, where even most of the East Coast is going to fall into the upper 40s briefly. And because we stay with a little bit more of an easterly onshore flow, this is an area that's not going to see temperatures climb as much in the afternoon, but we're still up to 70 for a daytime high. So again, not outrageously colder air behind this front that's going to be moving in. Blue Goose says the wind has picked up here a little bit since the morning. Yep. Yeah, again, breezier from time to time, no doubt about it. And I expect the winds to be fresh on and off through Wednesday afternoon. The winds will then settle down after that and become a little bit quieter in nature. So let's take a look at, go back over here to the HER model here. I'm going to drop off that. I want to just look real quickly at precip totals for you guys. So for this entire duration of the event, there's not going to be a ton here, all right? Again, this is the HER model. Best chance for any total rain is going to be along the West Coast, but you're looking at a lot of areas that'll be quarter inch or less. There will be pockets of rain that could get towards an inch, but it's few and far between. Here's a little swath on the HER model of a little bit more than an inch over portions of Pinellas in Hillsborough County. So, Pinellas Park and Seminole and Tampa and South Tampa could see that. Same situation somewhere between Bradenton and Sarasota. That's our best areas for rain that could be, a little bit more prominent. It's much lighter central and east. Still some downpours here and there, but the HER model is just not very aggressive. And again, certainly more aggressive. Look at the rain here, right? Look at the rain here. And then as the low pulls in, a big swath of a couple of inches of rain through a lot of central Alabama and Georgia and into the Carolinas. So we kind of missed out on the most prominent rain. Again, that's on the HER model. Clear that off for you guys. Show you the GFS real quick. See, wrong model, GFS, total precip. Just double checking here. I'm gonna make sure it's the same time frame. And the GFS is, again, not as high resolution of a model, but it's even weaker, right? There's gonna be some showers and storms. The GFS is underdoing it, but it's where the low is going in that swath of rain there. If we look at some of the other high-res models that I have here, let's see here. Ooh, what happened there? Hang on. Something happened in the background. Let's see. There is total precip. About the same thing. Take a look at the NAM real quick. Just giving you guys a couple of different looks at the models here. Oh, that was not going to be far enough in time. Basically, I have all these models back here, and I'm just rolling through them all. If there's one that I see that's something that's a little bit different, I'll show you guys, but I'm not seeing much here. This is the national blend of models. Let's see here. Through tomorrow night. So you can see the national blend of models. If we loop that up. So this is basically taking the models and blending them together. Pretty easy to see, again, where that's coming through. And there'll be some moisture associated with this. Not expecting it to be completely dry, but we miss out on the best chance. But relatively speaking, for the last couple of weeks, it's the best chance that we've had to at least get some appreciable rainfall out there. So something else I want to talk about real quickly is the fact that this next front that's coming through tomorrow doesn't have a ton of colder air. There's a lot of the country that is dealing with quite cold conditions, but we have been immune to that so far. Now, some of the things that you've heard about, the polar vortex and some of these bigger, atmospheric conditions that could impact the lower 48 are beginning to kind of become a little bit more prominent. But I went through the European model for the first half of December, all the way until the 16th of December. And the coldest morning I found for the entire first half of December was 10 days from now, next Thursday, December the 11th, okay? And we have 40s, maybe a couple of 30s in our northwest areas. But this is about it. There is no huge cold intrusion on the models right now over the next 2 weeks. We'll get some fronts to come in. They'll push in some cooler weather for a brief spell. But generally speaking, my friends, you should expect temperatures on average to be above normal for the first half of December. It doesn't mean we can't flip the script and we can't get some big time, Arctic and Canadian plunges of colder air coming in. But for the first 2 weeks of December, I'm not expecting that. Again, coldest morning could be in the first half of December, December 11th, and we're still only in the 40s, which is not much cooler than what we're going to have Wednesday morning. Most areas slightly cooler. Hey, Jaden. Thank you, my friend. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Jaden. $5 super chat. Appreciate you. Big friend of the channel. Hey, have a great time, whatever you're going to be doing, Jaden. Obviously, I would assume the attractions are part of it. Now, I can tell you this, Jaden. For the rest of the week, I'll be back on Friday, as you know, right? I am expecting another front coming in Saturday, Sunday. There could be a little bit of rain with that one, Jaden, but I'm not expecting it to be one that's going to really impact your plans. I'll keep an eye on it for you, I promise. But you've picked a very good weather time of the year to come enjoy. Temperatures are nice and mild this time of the year, and it's the dry season. We don't have the daily showers and storms as you know about as well. Let me get back out here to the Viz sat here with the temperatures. Blue Goose, no wind. Fiona says no wind yet. And Altamont, what is the 2026 plan for the channel? Fiona, I'll have more announcements coming up. We'll talk more about that as well. I appreciate you asking. Some of that is still a little bit unknown fully, but there are some exciting things on the way. I hope that you guys will be interested in, and some of that I'm still formulating. So I will provide an update when I can, but I appreciate you asking. Okay, so again, right now, you're looking at the infrared satellite imagery and current temperatures. We'll go back over to the live radar. Actually, the first thing I want to show you guys is when I mentioned temperatures, right? This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. So again, this is going from like December 6th to December 11th, right? And we are likely to see a pretty high chance of temperatures at or above average in that 6 to 10 day time frame, right? Colder air will be sneaking farther south in the eastern half of the United States, especially over the western Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley in the Northeast, with a big ridge developing here out west. But we are not yet going to see that colder air intrusion overall. So temperatures are likely to stay above average. The interesting thing is that we are likely to get wetter again, right? So we are going to see enough fronts get close enough and the temperature is warm enough, right? More moisture in the atmosphere, where we're likely to be a little bit wetter than average, okay? And that will be with probably 2 or 3 more fronts coming in over the next 10 days. So we are going to start to fall into a pattern where every few days, maybe it's 3, 4, or 5 days, we're going to have a front coming in with the opportunity for some rain. Now, again, it's all relative, as December is one of the driest months, but as far as the chance to see above average rainfall, it is fairly high in the 6 to 10 day time frame, right? Where anywhere that you see brown, these areas are likely to be drier than normal. So that's the southern plains and into the west. But with all of these systems coming in out of Canada, it's likely to keep the northern tier of the U.S. and the eastern half of the U.S. on the wetter side. Yeah, appreciate you, Jade, very much. Okay. One more quick look. Let's bring up the radar here again. So this is the Tallahassee radar that you guys are seeing right now. There she is. Here is the Melbourne radar with scattered light rain. Flagler County, again, spots of rain here and there. That's what you're going to get out of this today with the overcast skies. Right now, I'll show you something here. I haven't looked again, but you're likely to see, again, now more overcast conditions, right? That first little frame was from at the top of the hour when we looked at the Conway cam, where there was still a little bit of blue. Now we've got this broken deck of mid-level clouds. Again, there's not a lot of lift in the atmosphere, so there's no vertical development with the clouds, but we're likely to see skies be pretty shrouded with clouds with some spotty showers. Same situation, little mackerel sky, right? Looks like scales of a fish a little bit here, right? Just little pokes, holes there, but you know, these clouds are very, very uniform, but they're very, very kind of small in nature. Really interesting sky, but it just shows you some prefrontal lift of the atmosphere, but nothing significant enough to produce a lot of rain. And even back down towards the Disney area, skies are just a little bit more overcast as the clouds are pushing overhead and then back off towards the east. Okay. Does anyone have any specific questions about the forecast? I appreciate Jaden's question. I appreciate the super thanks from him. Big fan of the channel. Thank you, Jaden, very much. Hope you're doing well. Does anyone else have any specific questions? I'm happy to answer them while we're here. Again, appreciate you guys tuning back in as well. So get prepared for showers and a few storms tomorrow. Get prepared for a little bit cooler weather on Wednesday and Thursday, but temperatures will be moderating. There is another front that is likely to arrive late in the weekend with another chance for showers and a few storms. And then we'll talk about a little bit cooler weather for early next week. But you guys saw, again, from that graphic I just showed you, that the fronts I'm expecting to move through the first half of December are not likely to have true big plunges of colder air. So if you like the milder forecast, we just have to throw in the light jacket from time to time. I think you're going to enjoy the first half of the month. Okay, my friends, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing. Have a great rest of your day. Grab the umbrellas for tomorrow. I'm back Friday live for the latest edition of CFLW The Show. Please remember, as we head out, the CFLW is sponsored by the Lane Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Wind, hail, hurricane damage, property damage of any kind. They'll walk you through the insurance claim process. Go to leanombilaw.com for more information. You guys know also that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this activity. If anything gets squirrely for any reason tomorrow, I'll be back on live covering it. Of course, that's what we do here at CFLW. Friends, have a great rest of your week. If I don't see you tomorrow for the storms, I'll catch you Friday for the latest edition of CFLW The Show. Until then, take care.